Hey guys, no Zoup for you, and right now I just kind of wanted to do a video on the current health of World of Warships. And the reason I decided to do this was I was looking at other server statistics for some other video games out there, some AAA games, and just kind of seeing how many players are active in those games, and it kind of got me wondering how things were going for World of Warships. Well, when I typed in server statistics and everything else, I kind of saw the posts and the worries that were happening a year ago. People were saying that the player count was dwindling and kind of withering away on the North American server, and people were kind of concerned about that. So I wanted to look a little into that and see if there was a little credence to that. Before I get to that, though, I owe you a Belfast winner and also a König Alfred winner. And I know I didn't pronounce that right, but that's okay. I've had a long day. So anyhow, these are your winners right now. For the winner of the Belfast, the drawing winner is Ben Jostad. And I don't know if I pronounced your last name correct. So you are the winner of the Belfast. Congratulations. What I'm going to give you is 1 week to get back to me. Give me your information, your in-screen name. Hit me up either in-game in World of Warships or send me a message, DM through YouTube, and I will hook you up with a Belfast. And the winner of the König Albert is Michael Green. Congratulations. You are a winner as well. So, anyhow, this will probably be the way I do things for all contests from this point forward. It's very easy for me to just pick a winner based off of randomized comments, and that's why I ask you to comment in these videos where I actually have a contest. So anyhow, while I talk about today's topic, you're going to be watching a little Chapayev gameplay. I had an absolute awesome tear in it. I love this ship. Did about 180,000 damage, mostly off of fires. I just went back and forth spreading fires. That's what you do in a Chapayev. I just absolutely had a blast this round. Very good round and an appropriate send-off because I finally made it to the Donskoy again. So I'm going to let this play out while I talk about today's topic. Moving on again to the main purpose of this video, talking about the health of World of Warships. Now that we're getting close to 2 years after release, not quite. The game actually launched, I want to say it was August of 2015? It released during TwitchCon, the first TwitchCon back in 2015, late 2015, which I was very fortunate to take a part in. So since then, people have kind of been worried that in North America, things have kind of dwindled a little bit. Player count has been diminishing. However, you know, after looking at things, I'm just going to tell you right now, I think World of Warships itself is in a very, very healthy position. And the reason I say that is, you know, I was looking at the player numbers for World of Warships, and while they might not be super spectacular for North America, they're not bad. And I'm sure Wargaming has better stats, and I'm sure they're tracking this. This is just an average Joe looking at it using server statistics that he can find open source. But World of Warships in North America is averaging about 12,000 players at its peak. Give or take, you know, a couple thousand players, which in my opinion is not bad. During off-peak hours, you know, morning, midnight, times when players aren't playing, averaging about 4,000. So, you know, you've got 15,000 to 4,000. Europe, off-peak, you're averaging about 13,000 from what I've seen. On-peak, 16,000. And then Russia, of course. Russia is just blazing away with 26,000 during peak hours and 7,500 during not peak. And then again, we've got Asia. I don't want to leave Asia out. You've got 12,000 during peak hours and then, you know, just 1,000 or so during non-peak hours. But again, you know, people said a year ago, hey, you know what, there's only 12,000 players active during peak hours in World of Warships in North America. And that number has not changed from year to year. So what that tells me is World of Warships is not losing its player base in North America, not at all. And players are going to come, players are going to go. But right now, I think it's healthy that we've still managed to capture 12,000 active players during peak. You know, whenever there's a ship release, there's going to be more players, and when there's kind of a lull, there's going to be less. But still, I think that these numbers are healthy, and I'm going to tell you why here in a second before I give you some statistics on World of Tanks. And World of Tanks, you know, World of Tanks is thriving. You know, active 7,500 players in North America when I looked, 80,000 in Europe, which is just insane. And then in Russia, you got 17,000. So World of Tanks, though, you know, that has an esports edge, which kind of helps it. And World of Warships really does not have that esports edge, and I don't think it ever will. And I don't think that's any fault of the game per se. I think it's just the style of gameplay, and it's really RNG dependent. But World of Warships is a very niche game. World War II warships is not something that everybody out there desires, not everybody out there wants. And the fact that a year and a half after release, 12,000 in North America are still playing during peak hours, I feel that is healthy. Now, you might see 12,000 and say, hey, that's not a lot of players in my opinion. I don't think 12,000 is a good number. Well, try this on for comparison. And I in no way want to diminish from Battlefield 1 because I enjoyed that game. I think it's a great game, it's a lot of fun. But looking at statistics for Battlefield 1, PC only, because it's very, very healthy on Xbox One and it's very healthy on PS4. But PC only during a 24-hour period, you're looking at 27,000 average players with 41,000 peak. And that's during an average 24-hour period. Now, Battlefield 1 is a AAA release. I mean, this is a big game that a ton of money was put into, and advertising and everything else. World of Warships, I'm sure a lot of money has gone into, but World of Warship is a free-to-play game, and people aren't expecting that to have quite the numbers that one would expect Battlefield 1 would have. So, when you look at North American stats for World of Warships, 15,000, 16,000 during peak hours, look at Battlefield 1 during peak hours for the entire world on PC. It's 27,000 average, 41,000 peak. That's every single PC server in the world. So, World of Warships isn't that far off. Let's look at something else. Arma 3, another very niche type of game. It's a war simulator. They're a little behind Battlefield 1. You've got 17,000 average and then a peak of 31,000. So, they're about 10,000 behind Battlefield 1. Again, when placed up against World of Warships in North America holds up pretty well. Now another game, one last game I'm going to throw in there, is another AAA game. And when I say AAA, you know what I'm talking about. EA, we're talking about Activision, those type of companies. Arma 3 is not, in my opinion, a AAA game. Again, it's a very niche game found on Steam that a lot of players love. It's kind of like DayZ. I absolutely love both games. But it's not a major mega release. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare PC, we're not even looking at tens of thousands. You're looking at a few thousand. And that's a AAA game right now. Now, of course, they're going to do a lot better on Xbox One and PS4. Battlefield 1 is totally rocking it on both of those consoles. But again, those are consoles, and World of Warships is not on consoles. World of Warships is PC only. So, while players out there might be worried that it's just kind of dwindling in North America because the numbers are only 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 or so, no. When you stack it up against some AAA games out there, World of Warships is actually very, very healthy. And I maintain it's going to continue to be healthy. It'll ebb and flow, players will come and go, but there is a very, very strong herd of players that absolutely love the game and that are going to continue playing the game and have invested a lot of money in the game. That goes for World of Tanks as well. And again, like I said, World of Tanks has kind of an esports edge to it. But going back to the main purpose of this, looking at the overall health of World of Warships a year and a half in, after Gold release, because closed beta was out there way before that, I think the game is in a very, very healthy state. And you continually see new ships coming out, you continually see new premium ships coming out, you see additions coming, some things we might not like the changing captain skills and new skills, but work is happening on the game. It's continuing to happen on the game, and it will continue to happen on the game. You look at a AAA game like Battlefield 1 or Call of Duty, and what do you expect their life cycle is for that game? I mean, Battlefield 4, you know, we're 3 years on it about, and you know, there's still players playing. Not quite to the extent they were the first year it came out. So, you know, a AAA game, they don't expect the game to keep going and going and going like the little Energizer Bunny. You know, they expect to maybe get 1 or 2 strong years out of it, make money off of DLC, and, you know, maybe stop support after that 2-year point, and from there just kind of let it drift into the sunset. That's what happens with a AAA game. However, wargaming, these are not that type of a game. They create these games to have long-lasting value. I mean, Tanks has been out there for several years now. World of Warships, you know, you're looking at, well, probably close to more than 3 years that a lot of players have played it because of closed beta and closed alpha and, you know, gold release and everything else, and the game's still going strong. There's still tons of ships to add. We're not even close to being complete here. So, you know, when people worry about, you know, dwindling player counts and whether or not it's losing steam in North America or somewhere else, you know, I don't think it is at all. You know, there's still a lot of players playing right now, and you know, I think it's just a matter of putting into context against other games. You know, you see only 10,000, and 10,000 doesn't sound like a lot of people. It doesn't at all. But when you put it in context and put it up against other PC games, other AAA games that are on PC, that number actually looks very healthy, and it looks good. And the fact that that number has not shifted too much tells me that things are healthy. Now, if we were at 12,000 a year ago, and the average player count during peak right now was 5,000 or 6,000, yeah, I would be a little worried. That's a decrease by 50%, but that's not the case. We're still up where we were a year ago, we're still up where we were about 2 years ago, and that's North America alone. I mean, when you add in the other regions, there's still a ton of players playing World of Warships. A lot of players. I mean, Russia alone is just slaying it. Of course, it's a Russian game. Europe is doing really well as well. And that's one of the oddities about these two games, World of Tanks and World of Warships. They are very popular in Europe, and I don't know why they're so much more popular over there than they are here in North America. Might be because of the whole AAA game aspect, and they market more towards American players with first-person shooters, and American teenagers are just more into that. I don't know. But again, World of Warships is a very niche game. World of Tanks, it's niche as well, maybe not so much. I mean, there's a lot of popularity in tanks, not to the point that it's as niche as World War II battleships and warships are. So overall, I can see why World of Tanks is a little more popular, and again, you've got that esports aspect. But again, do I think that we have anything to worry about with the health of warships? Not at all. I, of course, would love to see the numbers just rise exponentially. I would absolutely love that. But I'm not concerned right now with the numbers, and from what I've seen, you know, the numbers are not that far off from what they were a year ago. And again, this is just average Joe taking a look at open source server numbers and everything else. And I'm sure there's far more in-depth statistics out there that Wargaming's looking at, but from what I can see, I think things are very healthy. And I think they're going to continue to be healthy, and I think there's always going to be a solid player base that absolutely loves warships, and I think more people are going to find out about the game and fall in love with it, and some people are going to get fed up and leave, but that's the same with everything. And, you know, I think the health of the game is looking good right now, so... Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and again, if you won a ship, get in touch with me, either in-game, you know I'm no Zoup for you, just reach out to me there, or send me a DM, and I will catch you all later. I am out.